power, it's going to lose energy, and what we're going to get here is probably going to be a little more wind than we've seen in a long time, but nothing to panic over or anything of that.
No, I think, consistent with what we've been saying the last couple of days, absolutely going to be more wind than folks have seen in a while for us, but it's wind we should be able to handle, especially if we're doing things like we've been asking folks to do, getting ready, getting their shutters up, making the last minute preparations, getting all that debris out of their yards. We're talking about winds probably in the 55 to 75 mile an hour sustained winds, maybe a little higher, maybe a little lower, depending on where the storm actually crosses. And then we're going to see gusts higher than that. So you're going to see gusts 75, maybe even up to 95, which a lot of wind, but that's going to be in those stronger rain bands.
Right.
So I think it's right in line with what we've been saying this whole time, Sheriff.
So we'll get some impacts of a hurricane, not a 2 or 3, but the wind gusts are going to come in 90 miles an hour at some points.
Yeah, I think you'll see some of that, and I think especially like we talked about yesterday, as Milton sort of exits, we're going to see again some of those stronger winds. So that's going to be another wrinkle with this one, right? We know storms are always different, but with this one, as it exits, we're used to just sort of being done and seeing all the rain bands go, but we're still going to see some pretty strong winds. So we're going to want to continue to hunker down, maybe a little longer than we normally would.
Okay. I obviously been out and about this morning a little bit. The rain's starting to come in. John, what time do you think we'll actually start seeing the true effects of this, or the extended effects of it?
Yeah, so we'll, like you said, we'll see continue to deteriorate throughout the day, but I think we'll start to see those heavier winds arrive probably early evening in the 6 to 7, maybe as early as 5 p.m. range. And then when we talk about those heavier winds, those upper winds, it's going to happen probably overnight into sunrise and continue through early morning is what we're hearing from the Weather Service right now.
Okay. So, when we talk about this storm and really any storm, what keeps us safe is being prepared. Having done everything on the front end so that we just ride the storm out and everybody comes out safe. And that prepared goes to shutters, last minute prep of getting the shutters up at your house, cleaning up any existing debris out in the yard so it's not blowing around, lawn furniture, all of those things. But it also extends to, let's make sure that as this storm starts to come in, we are hunkering down. We're not out driving around. We're not out trying to see what's going on. And then after the storm, the same thing applies. Don't go out and look at what kind of damage can be out there. We could have down power lines. We could have any type of flooding issues going on. So what we're going to ask you to do is just stay in. Let us, in our capacity, assess the county, make sure the areas are safe, and then we'll get you back out there. But the most important thing in everybody coming out of this with unharmed is be prepared. Have all your food, all your things to hydrate with, your medications. Have your pets inside, taking care of everybody. And at the end of this, we'll all be safe. So, John, I don't know if you want to add to that or not.
I do. Yeah, I'll talk about a couple things that go right in line with that. Right, again, using today to tighten up. Then hunkering down is going to be such a big thing. But for folks who are maybe concerned about their safety, maybe you're in a mobile manufactured home, you're in a low line or flood prone area, you're someone who's going to be power dependent, because we're going to have pretty widespread power outages as this goes. And we have 3 shelters open. Folks are welcome to come to those. We have a North Brevard shelter, which is Walter Butler. We have a Center Brevard shelter, which is Wickham, and then we have a South Brevard shelter, which is South Mainland. So we're geographically distributed through the county. And again, when we do our sheltering, we really zero in on where those threats are going to be, and then identify those most vulnerable communities. So if it's a wind community or if it's a flooding community, we try to get shelters as close to them as we can. And again, if anyone has any questions, they need transportation to those things, they can call 211, and we'll work to make that happen.
Yeah, 211, a great resource all the time here in Brevard County, but certainly during times like this. Just a little bit more, John talked about power loss. Obviously, a lot of folks today have generators, both portable and sustained generators. If you have a portable generator, make sure that you've got proper ventilation. Make sure that if you're refueling it, you're not doing it in a place or while it's extremely hot, so it's going to catch fire, any of those things. Also, if you look at your generator and you've got 150 cords plugged into it, that's probably not a good idea. Right? If it would make an electrician pass out, get rid of those. Try and limit how much you're using them, and just hold on. We're going to see a great amount of resources that are going to go to the west coast of Florida. Obviously they're going to take the biggest impact of this. So our electric companies, all of them are ready to go, ready to roll. But power will come back on as soon as they can get it to back to the grids and everything. John, bridges. I know that's always a big source of contention for everybody. So we don't close the causeways in Brevard County prior to the storm or during the storm. As soon as the storm passes and John gives us the all clear that we can go out and conduct an actual visual inspection of the bridges, we're gonna shut those bridges down momentarily. They'll all be closed. We're gonna shut them down and inspect the bridges. We're also gonna give our coastal cities a chance to check their areas, their power lines, their septic, everything else that could possibly go wrong and put somebody at risk. When they give us a thumbs up, collectively, all of them, when they give us a thumbs up, we'll release those bridges. I think last time we had them up and running in about 20, 25
That's
minutes.
fast.
Ideally, that's gonna be this time. Rather than coming out and sitting in line, waiting for us to open the bridge and backing up traffic, just stay home. We'll come back on this same thing on our live feed on the government channel, and we'll let you know the bridges are now open and you can get back and check on your things. Shelters, we've talked about. Evacuations.
I know we're getting some questions on about evacuations, and, you know, again, like we've been talking this whole time, right? We're not talking about a storm that has any large effect from a life safety for storm surge, for our barrier islands. So we don't have to do that large scale evacuation. You know, one thing our teams work on and the supporting teams is always being very strategic in that right resource at the right place. So we didn't issue evacuation orders because the threat isn't there, but what we did do is, again, open shelters for those who are most vulnerable to the threats we're gonna see. Again, it doesn't mean if you don't feel safe, if you wanna go to a friend's house, a neighbor's house who maybe you think has a stronger home, by all means, go do that. It's a great time to continue to build relationships within your community, but you don't have those options, we have shelters for anyone who needs them.
Yeah. You can always go to your website if you want to share it with them.
Our website is www.embrevard.com.
Ours is brevardsheriff.com, but also what we'll be doing is in this live feed, if things start to change, we open more shelters or anything of that nature, we'll get you that information as quickly as we can in the comments section. We'll post up something that lets you know there's a change in this. Real quick, everybody knows schools are closed through Friday. I believe
Friday,
the
yes.
decision's been made now through Friday. Courts are closed through Thursday with an evaluation point for Friday. Landfill.
Landfill closes in about an hour, and then we'll stay closed, and then they'll reevaluate post-storm. Same thing with waste management. They're gonna suspend their services today and tomorrow, and then we'll reevaluate what we have on Friday.
All right. Make sure your flashlights are ready to go. Make sure you got everything secure at your house, and just start getting ready. You know, what we try to do with these storms is we respond to them, not react to them, and that's what keeps everybody safe. We are blessed. We got a great EOC director. We got a great EOC team in place. Our law enforcement partners, our fire rescue partners, everybody's working together to keep you safe. All we need you to do is just make sure your home's prepared, and then we'll all ride this thing out together. John, anything else?
No, sir, I think that's the message. We hunker down starting tonight. We hang out. We let it get all the way through. We don't get tempted to go out early. We let it get all the way through, and then your point, we respond to it.
Yeah. So if this is your first storm, congratulations. If you're new to Florida and this is your first storm, we'll all work this thing together. It will all be safe at the end of it, and we're blessed. Our friends on the West Coast are really going to get the biggest impact of this. So we ask you to please keep them in your thoughts and prayers as they embrace for this.